You will think about pollinators when you have your next meal, I promise you. I talked to my colleagues, the other speakers, and they told me they don't know what pollinators are. Do you know what pollinators are? No? Yes? I'm nodding. These are these little creatures. They go from flower to flower, and they make sure we are getting a fruit. I cut this apple for you because I like to show you when I cut an apple, sometimes they have seeds, sometimes they have no seeds. This apple has no seeds. And I think you guys like that. Think about a watermelon without seeds. Think about a mandarin without seeds. I'm pretty sure you like it. I don't like an apple without seeds. Why? When I was grown up close to a small field, a really nice field, farm. And at this farm, there were fields, there were, close with flowers, with everything, and there were bees. They were pollinating these apples. When you look into an apple, each apple flower has 5 spots, and later the apple too. And in each of these spots, there are 2 seeds growing when they're getting appropriate pollination. And this, in the end, when you have 10 seeds, please cut your apples next time, count the seeds, and when you have 10 seeds, you have a healthy apple, I would say, an apple, a really healthy fruit. Why is this the case? Why do I say only an apple is pretty healthy when it has seeds? This has to do with calcium. In the seeds, you have the calcium. The calcium goes into an apple, and in the end, you have an apple with calcium when you have seeds. Isn't it cool? So I argue it's much healthier when you have calcium. You can argue, of course, you drink milk. But what about the vegan people among you? They can't drink milk. Then you argue, you go to the next drugstore and you're buying some supplements. You're buying calcium supplements. But can everybody in the world do that? I argue no. So in healthy ecosystem, this farm only had bees because it had a healthy ecosystem, has something to do with justice. Somebody interested in these apples because I don't need them anymore. Maybe give them to somebody, but keep in mind, they are not good, they are not healthy. At this little farm where I grew up, they kept honeybees. This is a honeybee. The little creatures that fly from flower to flower and pollinate the apples. I'm studying bees now, or pollination, and people call me the bee lady, the bee expert. I'm not a honeybee expert. I don't like them, I'm allergic to it, and actually when I studied, I always avoid all the topics with bees. Now I'm on top of them. This is the European honeybee. There's only one species of a honeybee, but we have thousands of species of wild bees. And I like to observe them because they have really nice skills, and they are so important for us. And I would like to show you today some of them. Only very few, but some of them. Look at these. A carpenter bee. It's a huge bee. It's 3 centimeters big. Here, it's pollinating a blueberry flower. But some of these carpenter bees in Germany, they like to pollinate legumes. And legumes, these are, in the end, when you have your meals, the things that provide you with proteins. When you're vegetarian like me, you're always hunting for proteins. Especially, and I see many of you, you look pretty fit, you look like you are exercising, and then you need these proteins. And for this, you need these bees. So think about these bees. I never saw them when I was a kid. I see them now everywhere. These are the climate change winners. They are now everywhere. In former times, it was too cold for them. I'd like to show you another bee, because I told you I'm fascinated about them. This is a small bee. It's only 0.8 centimeters. It's not the smallest of all. We have much smaller bees. But this is a bee, a rampion scissor bee, that specializes, that favorizes flowers to feed their babies on these bellflowers. So next time, I'm not sure, when you have a garden, or if you have a small balcony, you just need a tiny, tiny spot, or somebody who has a tiny spot, please make sure they provide these bellflowers, otherwise the babies will die of this bee. Many of our bees are specialized on certain flowers, so we have to provide them these flowers. I also want to show you a little bit how I came to this topic. I think I came to it because I was always at this farm. This was not the farm of my parents, but this was a neighboring farm, and I was there night and day. Was really never concentrating on school. I was not good in school, but I liked to be there. But then I studied biology, and I wanted to go to the tropics. It was not so much important what kind of topic, but I wanted to go to the tropics. And in the end, I found a professor. Here you see, it's 1998. He said, go to the tropics because we need some results there from butterflies, the predation of butterflies. So I was there in this very nice family close to the rainforest, or actually more or less in the middle of the rainforest. And I tried to study butterflies predation, and it didn't work out. All the experiments failed, and I was alone there, and I was thinking, I have to do something. I have to go back, probably with new species. I found new species, but I will not tell you about that. But I was observing flowers, coffee flowers, at one point. They were flowering every month, and I saw many different bee species there. Some were only there when there was rainforest close by. Some were there when the land use intensity was really high, really intense. So there was a change in the bee community, what kind of bees were there with land use intensity. So I came back with these results and thought, cool, I have to do a PhD. I like to know when the bee community is changing, other bees are there, I would like to know what's happening with the pollination. Does this affect the coffee production? And I found, without bees, not enough coffee. Not enough coffee, not me functioning in the morning, and probably you will also not functioning in the morning. I'm not sure, maybe you're doing tea. Then it's not such a big problem. Then, this is also a picture of my time in Indonesia. I'm old, it's many years ago. And when you look closely, that's a cocoa tree, cacao, chocolate, and a fruit there, and then you see a very, very tiny creature. It's a mosquito. Once, I published a big global synthesis about crop pollination, and I got a really nice article in the Spiegel, and the header was, or the headline was, "Without bees, no chocolate." Oh, I was really surprised about that, because I never observed a bee there. These are the mosquitoes pollinating your chocolate. So next time when you eat your chocolate, or when you see chocolate, or when a mosquito is buzzing around your eyes, about everywhere, thank them. Thank them for the chocolate. These are our chocolate heroes. I hope you believe me. So without mosquitoes, no chocolate. Mosquitoes, the chocolate heroes. Remember this. It's not all about bees, it's also about mosquitoes, and it's about bats. Look at this bat. And this is an agave flower. Do you know for what we need agave flowers? Agave you need to produce tequila. And this is what you need for the cocktails for the evening today. So thank the bats for your cocktails for your next party. Now we are coming to a different bee. This is an evil bee, not a nice bee. It's a bumblebee, but not the real bumblebee. This one is not going for pollen, it's just going for nectar. It needs sugar to get strong. Then it sneaks into the nest of the real bumblebee, and then it's outcompeting the larvae. It's feeding very fast, and the real bumblebee, the babies are dying. So now you can think, okay, bees are not nice. I agree, nature is not nice. Nature is not fairy tale. Nature, sometimes it's evil, and this is good. All creatures need to have predators. There's one creature in the world that do not have any predators. Only we call it intragrid predation, when we predate on each other. I'm starting to predate on you, but not another organism is doing it. You know about which creature I'm talking about? These are humans. They destroy nature, and in the end, they will have a problem. This, of course, also have the real bumblebees, this evil bumblebee. And the bumblebees, they can do something with their wing what other bees can't do, or only very few bees. They can do some buzz pollination. They use their wing so that the pollen is coming out. And what you can do is, I had an apple, now I have to brush my teeth. You can find, of course, solutions when you do not have any bees anymore. So you take this toothbrush, you're going to a tomato plant, because tomatoes need buzz pollination, and then, you turn it on, it's not functioning. This is a problem. It's not functioning. So I can't pollinate my tomatoes, so no tomatoes tonight, it's not functioning. But when you have nature, you have bumblebees, and you solve the problems. No energy problem. They are there, they do it for you. But of course, we can also solve the problems, and this is what scientists are currently doing. They are solving the problem with robot bees. They're trying to solve the problem. And this is from a publication. You see there robot bees already that are pollinating, or that you see this brush, they're taking some pollen and bring it to the next flower. But these are very huge flowers, and we have thousands of flowers. Some are very, very tiny. So you will never have robots that can go to all of these flowers. And this is only happening in the lab at the moment, and it only works from time to time. But I argue here, robot bees solve the wrong problem. Why? The real bees, the diversity, the many different species, the thousands of species, more than 25,000 species in the world, they solve the real problem because they will only exist when we have nature. Without nature, we have not these bees. With the robots, we don't need nature. So robots solve the wrong problem, they solve the real problem. As a postdoc, I was in California. You probably have heard that in California they are bringing in these trucks of bees, they bring them into the almond plantation to get nuts in the end from honeybees. And I was then there to figure out if honeybees have a problem, do we have any other bees that do the pollination job? And I was actually looking into orchards that had honeybees. Honeybees are everywhere because people, the farmers, are bringing them in there. They try to solve the problem. And these almond orchards were surrounded by natural habitat or some kind of natural, semi-natural habitat. So they had bees. I found more than 30 wild bee species. I was so proud because everybody told me there are only honeybees there. And I found flies. And then I looked into the orchards over 5 years and I found only honeybees. None of these other. There was no diversity. Diversity is key. And then something happened I have not expected. Wind came up, bad weather came up. And in the sites where we had diversity, there were the wild bees, there were some flies still foraging in the strong wind. But in this site, honeybees do not like wind. Nothing happened. No bees were there. What does it mean for the farmer? No habitat and bad weather means no bees, no yield. And these farmers are even getting higher prices. So think about that. It's also economically super important to have nature. I told you I'm not a fan of robot bees, but I'm a fan of innovations. And I'm a fan of robots in the agriculture landscape. So this is what I had when I was a child, at least in my area, this landscape there. But we cannot go back to this. Only in some cases we can go back. So we need to think about innovation. This is what's happening. We are standing now there, and we need to come back with something innovative. And there will be some robots, some bots. They will do the weedings, for example, because then we don't need any herbicides, any pesticides, and pesticides harm bees. So this will happen, but we will not have any robot or bot bees. Then what can you do? What can I do? So I have a very, very tiny garden only. It's more or less a balcony. And what I'm going to do at the moment is that I have, for example, these salad from springtime. I was so proud of them. Everybody was standing in front of my house, and I heard the people saying, wow, there's salad, although there's a street here. You grow the salads, they do not provide pollen for the bees, but nesting habitat. I had leaf-cutting bees nesting there. And then I'm always bringing seeds. I'm collecting seeds from everywhere, from friends' garden, from grasslands, and then I bring them, and then I have also native flowers for the bees, and also other pollinators, other insects. So everybody can do this, but we have to do it together. We have to come together and have to do this. So what can you do? Or my present for you is you can make a seed bomb. Very easy to do. You're just collecting seeds. Collect the seeds from the flowers where you see pollinators. You mix them with 5 parts of clay. You can just take clay soil. You use a part of compost and 1 part of seeds. And then a drop of water is enough, and you form a ball, and then you have your present for your next party, for your next friend's birthday. I don't know where you want to go, but bring it to them, and then spread the word. We need more flowers, we need more habitat, we need nature. So with this, I'm coming to an end. I hope I was not too long. And I like to tell you, when you go out after the 3 speak and you have a meal, you're thinking about the pollinators, for sure. When you have a drink, you will think about the pollinators. And tomorrow, I hope you will all start sowing the world so that we have nature again. Thank you.